Knowledge consists of two categories: the knowledge of where we are and knowledge of who we are. And if we simplify those two categories, then we'd be able to simplify all areas of knowledge. To understand where we are, we first need to simplify the universe. The universe is a structure, and just like any structure, it's made up of shapes. And to understand the structure, we would start with something as simple as a dot, and then we would make a line. And by replicating this procedure twice, we would make the first and simplest shape, the triangle. Adding another triangle would make a square. And when we continue to add more triangles, we would end up with the unit shape, the hexagon. And by duplicating this unit shape, we would expand the structure. And by adding more layers, we would get a sense of the structure of the universe. These shapes and patterns are the pathways in which energy can flow in. And the energy would follow the structure of the pathway it's flowing in. When energy flows in a certain pathway, it would form a triangle. And when it takes a different path, it would form a square. Some other paths would form a pentagon. And some would form hexagons. The more paths the energy takes, the more complex the shape would be. And when we look at it from a different perspective, we would see shapes like cubes. As more energy is added, the complexity would get higher. And we would see structures like atoms and molecules. And here's an example of water molecules. And as these water molecules come together, we would see the hexagon pathways. When energy flows in a different pathway, atoms that we refer to as carbon would be formed. And when these carbon atoms come together, we would see structures like the structure of graphene. And these structures would still be visible even at the complexity of life forms, such as the shape of this flower. Now, the examples are many, but these were just a few. And we can see more examples in our daily life, especially where energy is flowing naturally. Knowing that the universe has a structure would help us understand how energy is flowing through it, and would help us answer the second part of knowledge, which is who we are. To help us understand who we are, we would need to simplify the structure of the universe. And so we would linearize the paths. And we would linearize the energy flowing in these paths. Because when it comes to humans, we want to overlook the shapes and focus on the purpose. And lines would serve well in understanding a purpose. All different living organisms, they would all share a similar function, which is receiving energy and giving off this energy in a certain direction. And so all living organisms are directing energy, and the path that each organism is directing their energy in is what makes each organism different than the other. For example, an apple tree would direct the sun's energy along with Earth's energy to make apples. Bees, on the other hand, are a different organism because they take energy from flowers, which took it from the sun, but they would produce honey. And so two directors, the tree and the bee, are all forms of life, but each has a different path. But although the bee and the tree have different paths, they could still have the same target, unless they start shifting energy away from its path. Unless they start shifting energy away from its direction. The organism that has the ability to do so are humans. Humans have the ability to shift energy from its target. And when humans choose a different target than the target of energy, they would create a disturbance in energy. And so all areas of knowledge that has to do with who we are would try to solve this energy imbalance. And we can use this simplified method to get as close as possible to the solution. And so knowing that we are navigating and directing energy in this structure of paths, and that our direction affects our energy supply, which would in turn help us direct energy better. And this is the target of energy paths.